got two motions and I'm hoping the mayor will insist they do them together. Otherwise we'll start listening to the same contributions from the same people twice. And then they will ask the questions on executive members' reports to say it all over again, and then they will make an observation so I can listen to it.
All right.
Just everyone's stuff I've left upstairs.
Moving on.
You're not recording yet, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, the meeting hasn't started yet.
5 o'clock.
No, the meeting hasn't
Well, so
started.
then I'm recording the fact that it's not started on time. Happy days. Thanks for informing everybody else.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for a few minutes late. Any apologies of absence?
Can I give Councillor Vanessa Alexander, she's on well. And I'll be copying her report that she deleted. If that's okay, through the chair.
Declaration of interest and dispensations? No. Before we move forward, I'd just like to say the item number 15. This is the payment of grant funding behind the leisure and the conclusion of leisure review report is going to be pulled. Withdrawn. Item number 3, these are the minutes of the meeting. I move them as outlined.
I'll second those.
Any comments on the minutes of the meeting?
Just one that I've been asked to bring up in relation to page 3, pay display on street parking consultation. That was checked with Lancashire County Council and their comments in terms of that. The comments made on the current meeting were false and weren't reflective of the fact that there were no intention from LCC to impose on street parking to Hyndburn boroughs. It is Hyndburn to request it or not, and then they will then facilitate any request, but there's no decision to impose any on-street parking fees where they're not already in existence. So I checked the accuracy of that statement with LCC and they came back and it wasn't.
Well, all I can say that that information was given to the chief executives and the leaders, that they are looking at those charges right across Lancashire. And when somebody says that, we take that on board and we take corrective action. So we've got to make sure that we shout that we don't want that charges to be held in Hindman. And to say that this is false, and well, that's your view. As far as we're concerned, we read it otherwise, and we made sure that we gave our views as our residents wanted. So that's all I can say, Zach. So making those statements and false and true is your opinion, but we took the information and we made sure that the public and the residents of Ireland know what we stand for and what Lancashire County Council were thinking of doing. Any other comments? No? Item number 4. These were the urgent decisions taken. I think it was explained in detail at the full council the reasons why these decisions were taken. So it's just for information based. Do we need to take a vote on this? Item number 5. These are reports of cabinet members. I don't have any reports. Melissa, do you have any reports?
Not really, just a reminder for members. It was mentioned in full council on Thursday that the first homeless forum that's been held in quite some time is next week on the 28th of January at 2 p.m. And the first Accrington Victoria Strategic Group is set for the 26th of February. So it's just a reminder, it was mentioned on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Nurta, do you have any reports?
I think given that I'm going to be covering quite a lot of my portfolio in the agenda, I think I'll cover as and when I'm going through each item. But the only thing to add is given that Councillor Khan has commented about the reason for taking the urgent decision around Wilson's, I'm pleased to say that the Wilson site has recommenced on the universal build and survey, and obviously the revised time frame is now being adhered to, and we're hopeful we'll have a complete site rather than a half completed site, because ultimately it is an asset of this council, and so that's the only announcement I'd like to make, that Wilson's construction has recommenced.
Thank you. Stuart?
Just had my portfolio this afternoon. The tenders have gone out for the new bin wagons, including the food waste pods, so they'll be coming back in soon. The wall collapse in Rishton last week caused £6,000 worth of damage to one of our refuge wagons. Luckily, the wall is the responsibility of Onward Homes, so they will be paying for the damage. The briefing paper regarding outsourcing the taxi MOTs will be ready for the end of this week, and will be coming to Munsif, Melissa and I to look through. LCC have now signed a contract for Winnie Hill until the 31st of March 2026. However, we are still working to try and find an alternative site. The food waste carriers are being ordered next week. Food waste bags will come with them for the kitchen caddies, and they've been bought by a consortium of 10 councils, so they managed to procure a considerable less cost. The skip days, we have Barnfield confirmed for the 1st of Feb, Netherton for the 8th of February, and Overton for the 15th of February, and we have 3 more that are coming online, including St Oswald's and and unfortunately trade waste removal, there will be a 9% increase coming on stream due to the increase in landfill tax. That's the end of my report.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Kimberly?
Yeah, I'm conscious that I've taken up a lot of time in this week to do my reports, but I can't access my emails at the minute thanks to the new security system of the council. So Just off the top of my head, what we'll say is that we've, the deadline for the events proposals is today. So we'll be looking at those over the next couple of weeks and getting back to all those organisations that have put in bids to put events in across the world. We did actually add a couple of little categories to the events proposal this time. So I actually widened the policy so that it included open spaces as well as just high streets and also parks. So we've had some fresh bids in that we've not had before, and also on the success of the Great Owl events that we had this year, we actually put £20,000 in to kind of hopefully continue that as we go forward. One of the things we've done as well is put in some smaller funding pots for culture and arts events and activities. We thought that just having a one-off event isn't always accessible for some of the smaller organisations, and we want to encourage more people to get involved, particularly in the creative kind of sector. And then just another one as well, we're currently going through the culture and heritage strategy, so we're just putting together a bit of a draft with the council officers and also the CHIP group, and we are having a away day to go through that, so that is next week, so hopefully there'll be an update on that in the future cabinet meeting. And as ever, if anyone's got any questions, just please drop me an email.
Just on that one, you mentioned cohesion and resilience fund there. Just want to declare interest on that because one of my organisations that applied, I am a member of.
Thanks for reminding me, Monty. I missed that bit out. So we've been awarded £55,000 from the government for community cohesion projects, and again we've just picked some fantastic organisations again across the globe to help deliver on some of those the criteria that we've set out, and there'll be more on that again at the next meeting.
Can I just also, because I'm non-pecuniary interest, one of the bidders who was successful in has asked me to work alongside them in a voluntary capacity to deliver that project. So again, for transparency, I just thought, just to highlight, I'm not going to receive any income, it's just for the community, and I just think it's appropriate for transparency to highlight that I've been approached by one of the organisations to work alongside them to deliver that project, but I will not be receiving any income. It's for the community. I just thought for transparency, I just highlight that and the
Councillor Scott Burton.
Update, yeah. So, firstly, thanks to our MP Sarah Swift. We welcomed the Chancellor Rachel Reeves to the borough last month. And thanks to Councillor Kate Walsh, she had the opportunity to speak to a range of businesses in Richmond about hopes, achievements, concerns, plans for the future, things like that. Myself, Councillor Walsh and Sarah Smith then had the opportunity to sit down with the Chancellor for about half an hour, where we made a strong case for investment into the borough, not just in terms of business, but in terms of education and skills, both for young people and adults. Last week I attended a meeting, the Meet the MP breakfast event with Sarah Smith at Senator in Oldham. It was attended by some of Highburn's most influential business leaders. We had some quite rigorous discussions about a number of issues. I was genuinely impressed about the general positivity about labour and extension of workers' rights. As one business leader said, we're a good employer, we have nothing to worry about. We talked about devolution, and there's a general consensus that going forward with a mayoral model with unitaries is the best way forward, and Pennine Lancashire Council would be a strong voice for investment into East Lancashire. We continue to work on workshops for local businesses. Some of those, just the council, some of those along Boost Business Lancashire. What's particularly impressive, I think, about those are the breadth. So just this month we've had a workshop supporting potential entrepreneurs with the very basics of starting their own business. And then on the other hand, we've got later this month, we've got a workshop for more established businesses with ambitious growth plans, where they can find out direct about significant amounts of funding from venture capitalists like Matura Finance and River Capital. Our economic development manager has been working on some more workshops to support businesses with particular issues that they face or things that they would like to learn about. And the feedback we've had has highlighted 2 particular areas that they've been interested in. One of those is that how they can integrate the power of AI into their business and get all the benefits that that can bring. And then we've also looking at workshops on Canva, which have proved some very popular when they've been mentioned. Getting the best out of Canva and producing business graphics and images. I think we're going to have to run a number of those due to the interest. I recently met with Great Harwood resident Katrina Rutter, who runs the UK's largest work from home Facebook group, the Work From Home Hub. That has more than 250,000 members. Myself and the economic development manager are going to have further discussions with Katrina to see how we may be able to link in with each other, possibly around some workshops for people with barriers to working who may not have considered the opportunity of working from home may offer them. On the theme of flexible working, I was pleased to highlight in the media 2 local businesses who have embraced flexible working practices and have found them to be paying off positively. Surface Print and Clayton Laws have moved to a 4-day week, and Advocacy Focus in Accrington have introduced unlimited annual leave. Whilst not all flexible working practices will work in all businesses, it's good to see Highburn businesses at the forefront of these family-friendly, flexible working practices that are win-wins for employees and employers. I've also been highlighting the importance of cash payments, in particular for small businesses. While card and contactless payments are here to stay, I do think that if we all use cash that just a little bit more for smaller purchases at independent businesses, this can really support them. Final 2 points, we're pleased to be relaunching Highburn Jobs and Careers Fair at Accrington Town Hall. So we'll be working with Scott Dawson Advertising on the event, and we're just finalising a date for that, but we're looking at March. This won't just be an event for people to look at the exciting career opportunities we have across the borough. It's a chance for businesses to showcase what they do and network. And finally, I know Councillor Carr will be happy with this, the Economic Development Forum will be recommencing at I think it's the end of this month. Not got the date in front of me, but I'm sure it has an invite. So yeah, thank you. Absolutely. So that's my update. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Walsh, do you have anything?
Yeah, so it's been a very asset heavy month, which obviously I can't discuss most of it. I will give a brief update on the family side of things. So as Scott mentioned, we did meet with Rachel Reeves in Rishton. I brought up the fact that we have insufficient places in nurseries, especially in Rishton when we don't actually have a provision for under 2s, so 0 to 2s, there's no provision at all. This is detrimental to families who either have to find a nursery and travel to it, which isn't very good for the environment either, and it's also detrimental to the economy because it means that often women are not able to return to work, so we lose that part of our workforce just because we just do not have enough nursery places for the children within Highburn. So I just wanted to give a bit of a civic update. The announcement is still embargoed until next week, but we have been there filming before the announcement today. But I just wanted to give a brief update on the financial side of things. So up to December, we spent as a council £36,000 on the running costs of the Civic Theatre, which is and this is while it's closed, so it's your gas, your electric, your insurance, any urgent repairs, and of course towards the staffing costs, which should be the security, the opening and closing of the building, checking it, health and safety, things like that. So as the cost of the borough, while it's empty, is probably around £60,000 a year. It could be up to £100,000 depending on what the repairs. So that's the sort of, it's a significant financial responsibility at the minute for the council to have that empty building. That's why I want to see it open. So there is 267,000 in the budget. The priority at the minute is making that building watertight, which would hopefully lessen the emergency repair costs. We've asked for a timber survey and also tendering for repairs to the roof once that's been done, and full investigation on the roof, because if we have a watertight roof, hopefully that would lessen the cost of the repairs. That is not the entire picture where it comes to repairs. There is so much more work to be done, but we thought that was the best starting point as a cabinet. Once we've done all that, once that's all been finalised, we'll make a decision. Hopefully, I mean, at this point we don't know whether the budget that we have is going to cover the cost of the roof. It's not great news, but we'll see. We can only try. So that's where we are at the Civic. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Roche. Councillor Khan, give me the opportunity to ask a question, one question each to each portfolio.
I'm going to be really quick 'cause I'm conscious of time.
One question each to each portfolio.
I'm not going to go to every one, which is you'll be glad to hear.
Yeah.
So just on, I'll email any other questions that I've got just for conscious of time, and thank you, Nancy, for allowing me the question. Stuart, just in relation to the LCC Winnie Hill contract, in the last council, Councillor Smithson brought up the fact that we could potentially ask them for an extension, given the fact that Unity Authority, loads of things are going to be changing now. Has that happened? Have you been in contact with them to ask them for that extension?
Not at this moment in time.
I think David's had a meeting with the Waste Services. He's going to give just a brief update on what was discussed here.
Yeah, met with the new head there yesterday, and while extending Winnie Hill isn't a great option because landfill tax means the gate fee per tonne of waste is really, really high. We might have options around sewers in Darwin. We may have, there's an option to waste to Farrington as well. So we're weighing that up.
So those conversations have started in relation to the new context of those. Thank you. And that was it on there. Just in relation to the Cohesion Resilience Fund, you mentioned that more details will come for organisations.
One second, Zach. Yeah. Did you want to
Sorry, I
comment?
just wanted to come in on the previous point. I just wanted to just to clarify that these conversations have been going on. They were instrumental off that meeting. This is something that, as I said at the meeting, we've been pushing for a long time. These are conversations and letters that I've sent and emails around the extension, but also raised directly as well with Suez at these meetings that we attend. Which Councillor Haythorne also attends as well. So just a bit of clarity. This is very much a joint operation, and not just because one person raised it.
Okay.
No, just my point was in relation to the fact that since that last conversation, last meeting, there's going to be new local authority organisation. So in light of that was not covered, not in the fact that nothing's been going on. But appreciate that clarity. In relation to the Cohesion Resilience Fund, you mentioned that more details will come, but some of the comments make me feel like that actually has already been announced and people have been successful. When will we get details of what organisations have been successful?
That's exactly what I meant. So when I meant details, I meant actually the organisation.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I meant. So
Cool.
that will
And that will come at the next meeting.
It was only announced last week.
Last week. That's fine. Cool. And I'll leave it there because I'm conscious of quite a lot.
Thank you. You've been given the opportunity.
Thank you. I'm glad we're learning.
Keep on learning. Keep on reading your reports. Keep up to date. We're on to item 6. This is the local government peer review report and the action plan. We've had this report at the full council. Now it's an action plan that's been drawn up. Today I'm presenting the proposed process for development action plan in response to the local government association corporate peer challenge recommendations. This challenge has provided us with valuable insight into strengths, including our progress on major regeneration projects, strong partnerships and focus on climate change and well-being. The recommendations outlined in the report will guide us in addressing areas for improvement, such as refreshing our strategy, enhancing collaboration and driving innovation. I'm seeking your agreement for the process outlined and to establish a cross-party working group to oversee the development and implementations for the action plan, ensuring clear accountability and engagement across the council. This process represents an opportunity to build on our achievements and set a course of continued improvements and success for Hindman. Thank you for your support and we move forward with this. There are recommendations on point 2 and the action plan is on page 36 and the process as well. And there will be obviously cross-party representation, which will be, people will be inviting Zach and others. So I move this report.
I will second that, Chair.
Any comments from cabinet members? No? Zach?
No, I'd just like to say thank you for taking on point the request for a cross-party working group, and I think anything that comes about, I'll bring up in the meeting itself.
Okay. All those in favour of the report? Thank you. Item number 7.
Council tax base.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to take it.
Yeah, just I think given is within, so the mechanics of setting council tax, one of the first steps is around establishing what your tax base is, i.e. the number of dwellings in the borough, and then letting the preceptors know, so Lancashire County Council, Police and Crime Commissioner, the Combined Fire Authority, that what the tax base is for the municipal year 25-26. And just to highlight that is for Highburn, it is 22,163. It's an increase of 68. I know in the report it's 3.3, it says 38. That's a slight error that we just spotted. There's 68 increase from the previous years, and for the Oldham Parish Council is 320, and that is an increase of 3 from 378. And this obviously is the basis on how to calculate your council tax. So obviously it's the first step to setting the budget, which will come in the forthcoming months. So this is the working behind it. So I present this report as that.
I'll second it. Any questions from cabinet members? Zach?
No.
No? All those in favour? Thank you. Item number 8. This is aids and adaptations for the pilot project on Councillor Melissa Fisher.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, subject to Cabinet approval, I'm delighted to announce the launch of a groundbreaking pilot project aimed at preventing falls and reducing hospital admissions among vulnerable residents. This is an initiative in partnership with the Lancashire and South Cumbria Care Board, Lancashire County Council, Peel House Medical Practice and Hindburn Homewise. The report seeks to allocate up to $250,000 from the Council's Disabled Adaptation Programme. The pilot project will fund early aids and adaptations interventions for the home for those eligible and vulnerable residents to help prevent falls and hospital admissions and therefore in turn reduce the health burden cost. The report also seeks approval to waive contract procedure rules so that the Council can appoint Homewise and specialist and charitable home improvement agency to administer the grant awards, working in conjunction with Peel House Medical Practice. This pilot project represents a significant step forward in our efforts to support vulnerable residents and improve their quality of life. By working with our partners, we can make a real difference in preventing falls and reducing those hospital admissions. The project therefore shows our full commitment to ensuring that our residents can live safely and independently in their homes for as long as possible, and therefore I move the report as outlined.
Thank you. I will second the report.
Thank you.
Any comments from cabinet members? Nurdad Aziz?
Just obviously, if you look every year, the DFG grant is not, there's always a surplus. You can't utilise the money quick enough to what it's allocated, because obviously lack of OTs, and generally it's a challenge. Anything we can utilise it for to make our residents' life easier as they get older or the circumstances changes, and we can facilitate adaptation in the home, is to be welcome. And just to highlight that when we have departed from the normal rules, normally there will be a very good outcome at the end of it, and I draw members' attention to what happened at Northcliffe in Great Harwood, and you know, with the care facilities for people with life-limited illnesses or severe disabilities. As medicines have become more and more stronger, and the research, generally people with severe disabilities are living longer. And last time we departed from the rules around DFG, we've got two great facilities to offer respite care in the borough. So again, I know it's a departure to the normal rules, but this is to be welcome, especially if it allows more people to stay in their homes for longer, because ultimately it eases the burden on the NHS and other care providers. So I think this is to be supported and welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Whiting?
Just got a couple of questions. So just in terms of the allocating £250,000, will that come out of the current DFG grant that Highland Borough Council get? Is that where it's being allocated from?
It's from the council's disabled adaptions programme. Yes.
If I may speak a bit freely, so this is a bit of a bugbear of mine, if I'm honest. So I've just been through this process, and just to correct me slightly, Councillor Aziz, but we've currently spent the DFG grant for this year already. So the DFG grant, in my opinion, still isn't fit for purpose. We had a review, the government did a review, I think it was 2018 it might have been, where they were asking about reviewing the current model, the way that it works. So currently, Hanbury Council, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, if you will, currently have a limit of £30,000 of discretionary payment available to the council, which offers £20,000. So just the current case that I've been dealing with for the last 6 months, which we've now got success on our staff, but it's been very difficult. Just an example, meant that the cost of that specific job on a property had actually risen for a single story extension for just for an ensuite bathroom and a walkway up to the back. Single story extension actually came at £86,000. This resident was given a letter to say that they had to make the shortfall themselves. Obviously that's not council's, that's not the council's fault. They gave them the maximum allowance available. But then meant that as part of the government kind of restrictions of it, that they have to go and try and find additional funding from elsewhere. We've got that funding from Lancashire Council, I'm pleased to say, which has been agreed this week. But for me, this ranting on separately, the DFG grant is not fit for purpose. And actually, to take £250,000 out of that grant for these adaptations isn't something that I think is if I'm being honest, the correct thing to do at the moment.
Yeah, I think,
Apologies.
sorry, can I just respond?
Yes, certainly.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, I can understand where you're coming from, Councillor Whiting, but I think where these pilots have been run elsewhere, I think there has been some proven success. So let's just hope that that's the position that we find ourselves in. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All those in favour? Sorry, do you want to ask a question?
It was just, to be fair, Councillor Whitehead has mentioned a few things I was going to ask, which was, well, what are we losing to pilot schemes, new innovation? I'm all for, because to move the NHS forward, to move our facilities forward and what we're going to achieve, we've got to be a bit more dynamic about what we do, and we've got to try new things. So pilot programmes in Hammond, I'm all for, and if that can be rolled out and we can see success. My main concern was going to be the same, which was, where is this coming from, and how many other residents who are going to access this may now miss out because we haven't got that. Was there an element, my question is, was there an element of getting some other funding from elsewhere to fund this pilot scheme, rather than taking it off an existing pot of money that we've already got?
It did used to come from Lancashire County Council, and they removed the funding for a member. Something similar projects to this, didn't they? Or
let's just clarify the funding programme and actually what councillors did, what all the councillors said there is, it's almost right, so I'll just clarify the point. The DFG's disabled facilities grants are funded from a wider pot of money that is allocated through government to Lancashire County Council. The fund is called Better Care Fund. And there is a ring fence element for disabled facilities grants. However, what the regulations allow now is greater flexibility in that fund is spent. So Councillor Asid was correct in saying when we spent that fund purely on disabled facilities grant, we were not spending the full allocation. So that is correct. So we have used the legislation and the intent of the legislation to broaden support and help for vulnerable people to help them maintain safe growth homes. So we have policies in place now that allow us to use that fund for things like affordable warmth grants for vulnerable people, and for things like grants for people returning from hospital to help them support them in home, and things like local safety grants to help make the home more secure. All things to help them in the same home. So this pot is in the same spirit under the flexibility of the regulations, and the combination of those extra initiatives are taking up now the full programme. Yeah. This year, for the first time ever, we've got to a stage where we are now, which is literally 2 months before the end of the financial year, where we have 14 approved disabled facilities grants that will be deferred until April. So it's a short space of time. Sometimes we do get the high grants, so the mandatory limit for a disabled facilities grant is 30,000. We have discretion under our policies and flexibilities to increase that to 50. When we get those, that obviously takes up a significant amount of the programme. It's difficult at the start of the financial year to anticipate those, and they get complicated. But it was good news that we got that one over the line. The good news is, in year, we just had an additional award of 164,000, which will help us get through to the end of the financial year. And that 164,000 has been allocated, added to next year's allocation as well. So we start off with 164,000 money we're anticipating doing. So at the moment, give or take, we're working within our allocations and programme, and nobody is losing out on the same facility grants, and we're able to help with affordable warmth grants and fund this pilot. We don't know if we're going to spend all the 250, so if we don't, it will revert to disabled type facilities grants if there's demand for it. It's a pilot project. The other thing to point out is, whilst it is not a mandatory disabled facilities grant, it is in the spirit of disabled facilities. It's actually to prevent somebody getting into a situation where they need a more expensive disabled facilities grant. So in a sense, if the pilot works, it makes the money go further, because we'll be able to help more people at the early stages of potential trips and falls, and therefore spend less money in assisting people, and that also prevents hospital admission, and also saves money for the NHS as well. So all the points have been valid. I hope I've been able to rank it up for you so you understand it. We're watching very closely that the intention is not to exclude people from the FGs because we're using another third party. So it's something we'll watch very closely as we go through the pilot. But right now we've sufficient resources to introduce it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
For the reassurances, that's fantastic. And just to put on record, my thanks to HomeWise, who personally benefited from rescuing Smart Hospital 6 years ago, and all the adaptations put in that factor. So I'll just make a little interest there if I may. But they do fantastic work, and it's really good that we're supporting them as well with this within Hindburn, because they do support many people, not just in Hindburn actually, but consumption. Okay.
So Walsh?
Sorry, it's on the subject. I just wanted to, I understand that it's a bit about trips and falls and people coming out of hospital, but I just wondered whether there's maybe a similar scheme for residents that have dementia, and, you know, the aids that enable people with dementia to remain in their own home, instead of having to go into a care home, because they can't live independently. I'm just wondering whether there's a similar scheme out there, surrounding that, just from personal experience, you know, that the aids, we financed ourselves for my grandmother, but, you know, lots of families aren't going to be in that position where they can finance that themselves, so I just wondered whether there was some sort of scheme out there, whether you could look into that and see.
I think I'm sure you'll speak to your portfolio over, and it's something we can look into.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. Item number 9. This is the Market Chambers operational costs, and it's Councillor Nurdad Aziz.
Again, this is obviously with the Levelling Up project and the process we have to take around making sure we satisfy all the legal requirements. This is a report I've had to bring, and given the further advice from the barristers, related to the CPO public inquiry related to market chambers for the members, the cabinet members. In point 2.1, in the first paragraph, after the first comment, it says subject to council's formal approval as part of the annual budget setting process. Can I remove that, please, that line? Because it's given that obviously we're taking a cabinet decision today, and it'll be reflected in all the necessary paperwork going forward. So if it's okay with all the cabinet members, can I just remove that? And the background to this report is obviously there's a current public inquiry, and it's a requirement from the inspector that we have the finances in place to make sure the market chambers project element is successful, thereby providing a commitment to annual funding towards the operational cost of that building once it's opened in late 2027, in accordance with the estimated set out in paragraph 4 below. And I'm not proposing I go on to each year. But it's simply an undertaking by this council that once it opens, that we will support it operationally to make it a success. So to aid the public inquiry that's currently undergoing. So I present this report as outlined, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Now, second the report. Any questions from any cabinet members? Councillor Khan?
No, my question's in relation to the support that you're giving. How often will that be reviewed in line with any future operator? So it can't just be, for example, in my view, support just given 5 years in advance and saying that's what support that you're going to get. Is there a review mechanism for any future support that any operator is going to have to make sure that we're constantly trying to drive that down and save the council money over that period? If there's an opportunity, it's not an opportunity, obviously, of course not, but is there an opportunity? Rather than being that's a guaranteed and granted.
So again, as we come closer to when intervention requires financial support, we'll look at this. Obviously 5 years from now we don't know what the financial pictures are and what the new report support basis will be, but as we get closer to when this project comes online, we'll review it. But there might be more funding opportunities to do more stuff as that building comes online. So I think when we set the budget in 27-28, for 27-28, we'll again review it to make sure it's as efficient and the cost to the council as low as possible.
Yeah, my second question is if the decision is no longer being made in here in this cabinet, is there mechanisms for that to be passed over to the future local authority, because obviously the budgets will be different. So the committed 5 years at Hindburn of future support. Is there an element where that is then not going to be upheld elsewhere because there's another 100 buildings in Burnley, Clacton, Pendle, etc.?
That ultimately,
If they understand the risk of that sort of thing.
but again, there'll be lots of challenges, but again, fundamentally, this is where elected members will have to make choices in the new authority, and the voices that represent this area will have to be strong voices to make sure they get their fair share. But again, if there's undertaking on the handover period, if there is a new authority, each one will clearly set out what the stipulations are that they need to abide by. I'm happy to take any advice on legal if I've said anything incorrect or I've said it appropriate.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. Item number 10, this is the Prudential Indicators Monitoring and Treasury Management Strategy update.
That's myself again,
Yeah.
Chair, if it's okay. Again, just to highlight the progress and given where we are as an authority with all the capital funding, and I'll touch upon that given that there has been a bit of slippage in the delivery, obviously, on Wilson, we're in a far stronger cash position than we'd anticipated, because given the delay in delivery of the capital project, whether it's MUF or the Wilson project, that means we've had a surplus of cash, but also with the economic factors, the interest rate, the base rate has been higher, so that's the higher than forecast, and that means it's led to 1.6 million extra interest generating, given the factors I've outlined, but also the change in strategy that was implemented a couple of years ago under the direction of Martin Dyson, of lending and placing on deposit-bearing accounts. First of all, the risk to the council if a bank was to go under is smaller, but also it's an income generating step, and that's generated 1.6 million in additional income for the period. I just wanted to highlight that this is a standard report. Just happy to take questions.
It's been moved, it's been seconded. Any questions from the Cabinet members? Councillor Khan?
No, I'll just say, just in relation to some of the comments, which is positive to hear about the council's financial position, and I agree with you, and all credit to Martin Dyson under his watch. He's got some strength to strength on that, and all the officers. Just in relation to, I come to these meetings every time, and I hear about the positivity around the finances in the council, and all I'd like to say is that then the opposite, I hear about pressures on spending, so that's of civic and other areas. Is there an element of flexibility where the capital programme isn't being spent on one particular project, then be able to divert that to others such as the civic theatre?
It's committed spend, so it's allocated spend, so love funded, as much as you and I would like to go and spend it in Oswald Twistle and Grey Tower, it's got specific criteria, and if you ask the residents of Grey Tower, the leisure funding for Wilson's, and I don't think my viewpoint's been hidden. If it was up to me, I'd spend it somewhere else, but obviously contractually, and what is being allocated is being allocated to specific projects, even though it's not being spent, it is for specific projects. So as much as we would like to allocate it to other areas, unfortunately contractually, and the reasons why we were given that funding is restricted. So as much as it would be nice, I'm afraid it's not possible.
Thank you. Just my other question really, just the climate change reserve fund, what has been spent thus far? I can see that there's not been much move on the allocated spend, and whether or not that is has had anything else from the net zero working group and any further spend since the last cabinet meeting.
I'll happily take that away and give you a return.
That was more to Councillor Walsh.
But
The question is to Councillor Murdoch.
Okay,
yeah, I'll happily take that away and give you a return response.
Okay. All those in favour of item 10? Thank you. Item 11, this is revenue budget monitoring, quarter 3, for 24-25, in regards to yourself.
Again, obviously, the forecast outturn is a £93,000 positive variance to the budget set. But and again, as I highlighted previously, the main driver has been interest. But obviously, there is headwind. Housing benefit claimants were significantly higher than anticipated due to a number of underlying reasons. And obviously, the council is looking at how appropriately to address them and what is the exposure. And at the appropriate time, we'll be bringing a report. But it highlights where the council intends to spend any variance on, and obviously we'll address that in the appropriate time. But fundamentally, for us, the headwinds that are coming down the track, whether it's the waste transfer station and other around the food waste, and we need to be in a strong position where this council has the appetite but also the resources to address it. So even though it's a positive picture today, we don't know the risk to this council is significant, so we need to make sure we carry on having a prudent approach to the finances.
Thank you. It's been moved by Rudal Dal's second report. Any questions from Cabinet members? No? Councillor Khan?
No, thank you. Yeah.
Item 11. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 12. This is yourself again. Capital Programme Monitoring, quarter 3.
So again, just to we had set out when the budget was set in 24-25, when we expected the two large significant capital projects, the Loft project and the Wilson. Clearly there's been a slight slippage, and that means the funds haven't been spent as forecast, and they're going to go over into next year. Obviously that creates a positive revenue impact given the high interest rate, but also it just has a knock-on effect with capital projects overall. Loft, we've received an extension from the government around the delivery time scale, and that's been accepted. And obviously, like I alluded to earlier, where Wilson's has recommenced, and the time frame for delivery is slightly delayed due to the administration of ISD, and we'll make sure once it is that it's delivered to the appropriate timescale. But like I'd like to touch upon again with Wilson's, is under this administration, when he went into ISD went into administration, we were quite clear on that project. The council was not willing to be exposed for any additional funding, and that was the direction set by the leadership and this cabinet, and working with Sports England and working with our contractor. That's something that was emphasised from day one, and that has meant Sports England granting an additional 240,000, and meaning that project is not going to cost this council any more money. So, but just to highlight that, I'm happy to take questions again.
It's been moved and it's been seconded by me. Any questions from the Cabinet members? Councillor Khan.
No, thank you, Chair.
Item number 12. All those in favour? Thank you. We're into part C. This is the exclusion of public. So this in accordance with the regulations 4.2b of the local authorities executive arrangements, meetings and access to information. England Regulation 2012, the public be excluded from the meeting during the following items, which is likely, review of nature, and proceedings will be otherwise the disclosure of exempt information within the paragraph of Schedule 12A